Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to prep your footage for color grading. This will include everything from how to shoot your footage to color correction and finally the color grading process. Let's jump in. So here we have a clip that came from an ARRI Alexa Mini LF and I got it from their website, from ARRI's website. You can find it here and I'll put the link in the description. Now this is from a Mini LF and it was shot in Apple ProRes 4444 in a log C wide gamut. Now, I understand that if you want to color grade, you want to have, the flattest image you can with the most dynamic range, but a lot of you guys are using DSLRs and you can't do that. So what you want to do is go into your settings, desaturate the image, reduce the contrast all the way down, and reduce the sharpness. That's essentially all you can do. Well, at least that's what I do for my camera. And so moving forward, that's what you want to be shooting with. You want to be shooting with desaturated, very low contrast footage to get the most out of it when you go in post and try and color grade it. So now we move into Final Cut, which is what I'm running here, and I have the clip already imported, as you can see. And the very first thing we want to do is obviously create a project. So we go to File, New, Project. And here's something very important that you might miss, is if you don't have the right video settings, then the way you color grade and the color space it's in, it's all going to be jacked up. So I'm just going to title this Color Grade Workflow. This is a 4K clip and I'll just leave that as is. This was shot in 24p and I'm going to have to go here and go to Apple ProRes 4444. Click OK. Boom. Now we have our project. Open that up. I'm just going to drag this whole thing in here. And it's got some sound, but I'm going to mute it. I'm going to actually close this window to get more out of it. And here we go. So as you can see, this image is pretty flat. Just going to play that. So now that we've established that, we want to move into the inspector window. If you're in Final Cut Pro, you can go into the inspector window, which is this little eye, and your window might look like this because it's in the default setting of basic. But what you're going to want to do is go to General, and you're going to get this camera LUT option drop down. Thankfully, Final Cut already has this LUT in here, so we're just going to go ahead and click ARRI LUT. This ARRI LUT right here is the log C, and as you can tell, it already fills in the colors, the information that was supposed to be there. So now that you have your color tab open, you're going to want to set up your video scopes. And I like to set up the vector scope for skin tones, an RGB overlay, and a Lumograph. The Lumograph is for your brightness and to check all of that stuff that has to do with lighting, shadows, all that stuff. And the vector scope I use for skin tones to get accurate skin tones, and the RGB overlay is just to see where all my channels are at. So let's get started. So obviously this clip already has a lot of the color and shadows and everything pretty nailed down. That's why you need to shoot it right in camera and use the appropriate camera LUT so that you can save yourself a lot of time, because color correction can be a huge time sucker. So I might just reduce the overall master exposure just down a hair, just to make sure that the lines are, just nice and evenly spread and touching all the way down to 0 and 100. Next, I will do my contrast, which this has pretty good contrast already. It's already set pretty well. So next I'm going to go to my shadows, and some parts of the image here are a little too dark for my taste. I like to have things a little bit lifted just so that when I go to color grade, the colors that I'm messing with can seep into the shadows and give you a more cinematic look if that's what you're going for. Now that we have the color correction pretty much taken care of, we get to go to the fun part, which is the color grading process. So now what I like to do is take a color curve and mask my subject so that we don't get any color that's not supposed to be on their skin, so that way we nail the skin tone. So we're going to create a color mask. We're going to get this eyedropper tool. We're going to select the subject's skin. And as you can see, it's just grabbing a lot. We're going to click over here, View Masks, down here, and you can see what you're working with. So we can zoom in the image and actually kind of really work It's just really trial and error, so we're gonna have to work our way as much as we can. So now we're gonna want to invert the mask. And as you can see, we only have this selected with a little bit of the rest of the image that has the same color. But now what we can do is actually color away. Remove the mask, can move this up, move this down. I'm gonna give you just a simple look here. So now that we have our colors already dialed down and how we want them, I'm gonna go ahead and add a final color wheel just to nail down any last details that I'm noticing. So if I wanted to make the highlights just a smidge darker, I'll do that, and then I'll maybe increase it saturation on the midtones, and perhaps just even bring my shadows down just a hair to get a different look for the image. This is without it, this is with it, just like that final touch. So again, if we see this image without the LUT, which is this, and without any effects, this is what it looks like, very flat. But of course, we add the LUT, which saves us a lot of time in the color correction process. And now we have our final look, which is this greenish tint, yellow looking thing. And that's how we do it. And guys, as a final tip, don't get caught up on LUTs and looks and all the other stuff that YouTube's trying to shove down your face. What you want to focus on is the story, and how will the color of the film drive the narrative? How is it going to help carry the tone of the entire movie? If I would have colored this with a Matrix looking grade, then you'd get a different feel for it. Or if I made it more blue or made it more yellow, it would convey a different type of message. And if your grade and the story don't line up, then you're going to have conflicting elements that don't make for a nice film. So again, focus on the story, what it's trying to convey, and then you grade according to that to boost it, to give it that extra, oomph, that last mile stretch to really hone in on the story of the film. Well, that was it for today. Let me know if you learned something in the comments down below, or if you have any questions, remember to subscribe for future videos. I'll see you next time.